Couch Cage Side with your host, Kyle Delaney for CouchFighter.co. And in this installment, I'd like to break down and predict the upcoming heavyweight championship of the world in the UFC between two strikers, two finishers, Junior dos Santos, the heavyweight champion in the UFC, versus top contender Alistair Overeem. Now, this fight will be one of the most epic and highly anticipated fights in the heavyweight division, simply because these are two of the most deadly strikers in the heavyweight division, if not all of MMA. You have pretty much a technically sound knockout artist boxer in Junior dos Santos, and a world-class, world-renowned kickboxer, knockout submission artist in Alistair Overeem. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break this one down, and this fight's supposed to take place in the summer. This is probably going to be the big card that will take place over the summer. They're saying in June or July they're going to target this fight. So one can only imagine how incredible this fight's going to be. It will not last long, in my honest opinion, but still, the odds of seeing two elite strikers face each other in the octagon like this ever again are very slim to none. So this is going to be an absolute war and an impressive show, even though it will not last long. So hopping right into it, I'm just going to break down both fighters. First fight, I'll break down Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem not only is the Dream Heavyweight Champion, the former Strikeforce Heavyweight Champion, he's the K-1 Heavyweight Champion. Alistair Overeem is a very dynamic and versatile striker. He's a world-class kickboxer, has trained in Muay Thai in the past, has great boxing. He's really, ever since he's hopped on with Golden Glory, even though he's left them, they really turned his striking into something even more impressive than it really is. With his size, adds to his knockout power. So what Alistair Overeem brings to the table in the striking game is simple. Deadly leg kicks. I mean, we saw this in the Brock Lesnar fight with the liver kick. Incredible elbows. He's good in the clinch. I mean, his knees are some of the most, I'm not even going to say underrated, some of the most deadly knees in all of MMA. And he knows how to use his hands, too. He knows how to let his hands go. I'm not going to say he has the best hand speed, but Alistair Overeem hits with bad intentions. He can knock people out. Now, here's the thing with Alistair Overeem. His game is very simple. He is there to finish fights. Out of his 36 wins, he has 34 finishes. And they are come in the form of, he has 15 in the form of a knockout, he has 19 in the form of submission. That's the thing, is that people think he's this knockout artist, which he is. But people overlook his ground game very much. He has 19 submissions. He has one of the most deadly guillotines in the game. So in this fight, Alistair Overeem is more dynamic. He's more versatile on his feet. He has more weapons in his arsenal, from his hands, his elbows, his knees, his legs. He's the more dynamic striker. Does not mean he's the better striker, though, but he is a lot more dynamic than Junior dos Santos. He does pack a lot of power behind his punch. So that's what Alistair Overeem's stand-up game is like. And he also has an 80-inch reach advantage. He's also 6'5". He has a very long reach for a heavyweight. So that's what Alistair Overeem has in regards to that. His ground game is overlooked. He's very good in the clinch due to his kickboxing background, his Muay Thai background. He is very, very good clinch game. He throws deadly knees, and his ground game's overlooked. 19 wins by submission is beyond impressive. Some of the best submission artists don't even have that. So 19 wins by submission. He is very tall. He has a very he has very good frame for grappling. If anybody's going to try and shoot, that will not happen in this fight. Junior dos Santos is going to want to keep this one standing. And Alistair Overeem's got the tall frame. He's big. He's hard to get put on his back, but if he is put on the ground, he's more than capable of getting back up, even though I do not think this fight will get to the ground. So that's what I have for Alistair Overeem. In regards to strengths and weaknesses, Alistair Overeem is the stronger fighter. He's the bigger fighter, weighed in at 263. He's 6'5". He's an inch taller than Junior dos Santos. So that's what we have. In regards to, he's got the 80-inch reach advantage. He's got longer reach to Junior dos Santos' 77-inch reach advantage. I don't think it's going to be that big of a factor in this fight. And regards to weaknesses, though, and there's very few. There's very few with Alistair Overeem. A big one, lastly, one more advantage for Overeem is obviously the experience. He's been around the block. He knows the game very well. A weakness, though, with Alistair Overeem is his cardio in the past. Even though this fight will not go the distance, his cardio has been a question in the past with his fights against Verdum. Plenty of other fights in the past. His cardio was definitely questioned, but this one will not go out of the first round, in my honest opinion. And lastly, this is really looking deep into the numbers, is that I'm not saying this is a huge weakness, but Alistair Overeem's chin, even though Junior dos Santos' chin has not been tested completely, Alistair Overeem has been knocked down in the past. He's been knocked out by the Shoguns, he's been knocked out by the Liddells, the Nogueiras, and the Karatanovs, all great strikers, but he's been knocked out 6 times. Now, I know that's not a big number, but it's also not a small number. He has been knocked out 6 times, and I'm calling his chin questionable. I'm just looking for something here that will stand out, and he's been knocked out 6 times. He does, Even Verdum rocked him a couple times on his feet when the fight was actually standing. So I'm going to say that Junior dos Santos maybe not have the best battle-tested chin, but he has the chin advantage in this one to Overeem's questionable chin, in my opinion. So that's what I have for Alistair Overeem. Junior dos Santos. Junior dos Santos is one of the best boxers in MMA. He could be technically sound, but he's very plain and simple. He's a specialist. He's there to knock you out. He does not let fights go the distance. He tries to finish the fight. Plain and simple. He tries to finish you early, tries to knock you out with that one heavy knockout punch. That's what Junior dos Santos does. He is there to knock your block off. That is exactly what his goal is. Before every single fight, oh, I'm just going to knock him out. I have to knock him out. He is so confident in his hands. You're going to find very few fighters that are that confident in their hands. So what Junior dos Santos has is he does have the deadly knockout power, and he may have a reach disadvantage. He has a 77-inch reach disadvantage. He's to Alistair Overeem's 80. But what Junior dos Santos has is he has the speed that Alistair Overeem does not. And that's not a bash at Overeem, but Junior dos Santos has speed of a light heavyweight. It's unbelievable how quick this guy moves. And it's his hand speed, but it's also his footwork. It's not so much he's not bouncing around really much. It's his pop. It's his pop in his first step. He is able to pop into the pocket, and when he commits forward into the pocket, he's there to knock you out. That's exactly what he's there to do. He throws the one deadly punch, and then he comes with the uppercut, a whole barrage of punches. He's there to finish you. Bad intentions. He cuts you off in the pocket. There's not one fighter who's better at cutting off fighters in the pocket and cutting off their strikes. That's what Junior dos Santos has. He has very good pop in his step. We've seen this in the Gabriel Gonzaga fight. We saw in the Cain Velasquez fight. He steps forward and cuts off people's strikes. He has very good timing with his boxing. He knows his range very well. And that's exactly what Junior dos Santos brings to the table. Very quick hands, very quick feet, and pop in his step, and deadly knockout power, and very good boxing. Now, this one is too, I mean, he can get in a boxing match with you, but that's not the case. Junior dos Santos will not try and let this one go. The judge will not try and let this one get out of the first round. That's his goal. He's there to knock you out. Now, in regards to Junior dos Santos, he does have a good clinch. We saw this in the Roy Nelson fight. He did implement some deadly knees on Roy Nelson, and he has some of the best takedown defense. Now, Overeem could try and stand, but he could also try and take this one on the ground, seeing I'd say he has a tiny grappling advantage in this one. But Junior dos Santos has some of the best takedown defense and some of the best sprawl. He's very squirmy. He's very hard to get a hold of. He reminds me of the heavyweight version of Lyoto Machida. I know two different styles, but he's very squirmy, very hard to get a hold of. Great takedown defense. In regards to Junior dos Santos' ground game, he has a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is training with the Nogueiras. That is a huge accomplishment. So even though he's not a black belt, we haven't seen Junior dos Santos' ground game. We will one day, and will actually be something very impressive. I think there's a great ground game in Junior dos Santos, but the luxury with him is he has such good stand-up, he has such good sprawl that we never have to see it. But he'll have to fall back on it someday. I do not know if it will be in this fight. Quite frankly, I do not see this one going to the ground in this fight. And just very quickly, in regards to Junior dos Santos' knockout power, he has 9 knockouts. He's only lost once, and that was before he came in the UFC. He's undefeated in the UFC. He lost his fight by submission. It was an arm triangle, but that was a long time ago in his career. And Junior dos Santos, in regards to strengths and weaknesses, Junior dos Santos, I'll give him the chin advantage in this one. I'll give him the speed advantage in this one. I'll give him the cardio advantage in this one. He has gone the distance in a couple fights. I mean, the Roy Nelson fight, even though he was gassed, he implemented a lot of strikes that he still went the distance pretty much. And in regards to weaknesses, I'm going to say that he has the reach disadvantage. He also is not as dynamic and versatile of a striker as Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem has more weapons and more tools in his arsenal. So, and the weakness is definitely his ground game, a very tiny bit. Overeem's got the size advantage, and he could be able to take dos Santos down if his takedown defense is not on this day. So that's what I have for Junior dos Santos. In regards to the breakdown, this one's very simple. Okay, this is not bashing. I think Junior dos Santos is the favorite in this fight. I don't really see it in that favor. I think Overeem comes in. He's the more decorated fighter. He's got more experience. You figure Overeem would be the favorite in this fight, but that's not the case. Junior dos Santos is the favorite going into this fight, and I'm going to go with the favorite in this fight. I see this fight being very simple. It's not going to get out of the first round. I think it's going to be in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and it's going to end by knockout. Very simple. I see it happening. I see Overeem throwing some kicks. I see it landing on Junior dos Santos, but what I see is Junior dos Santos waiting, taking his time, and picking that one shot. He's going to shoot into the pocket just like he did against Gabriel Gonzaga, cut off an Overeem strike, and land that big overhand right and finish this fight by knockout. I'm calling a first-round knockout by Junior dos Santos. I'm going with the favorite, and I think Junior dos Santos will remain the heavyweight champion in the UFC, and Alistair Overeem will bounce back just fine after this fight. So that's what I have for this edition of the Cage Side Couch. This is Kyle Delaney signing off. I'm out of here.